Really good practice today. We went over to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and I had a really good practice. And one of the biggest parts is for the next 5 years, playing 5 games in that stadium. So as much as we can maximize attendance over there, we want to do that, get a feel for the place. Also, out of respect for the seniors that won't be a part of this 5-game series, we wanted to make sure they had a chance out of respect and love for them to be there in that great venue. Actually took the seniors in our program to watch the Falcons play the Jets last night, and a really good time just because I don't want their first NFL game to be one that they're playing again. So we took them there, and hopefully some of them or all of them will be in camps next year. But we had a lot of situations, a lot of things happen, moving the field, coming out, red zone, a big third down emphasis, and incorporating special teams in the flow of the game so the guys get used to how we do things, sideline organization, and all of those things too. Blessed to be here in the great city of Atlanta. So throughout this preseason camp, these guys have worked so hard. And so with that, we want to afford them the opportunities to have some fun and build bonds and, create great relationships within our organization. So we went to the Atlanta United game, went to the Braves game on Tuesday, had a great response the night at the stadium. Went to Whitewater last Saturday after the scrimmage, and last night going to the Falcons game. So we're in this great city. We're going to use all of the resources that this place affords us, because there's a lot of places in college football that you cannot do these things logistically within your 30-mile radius. We're able to do those things, so it's incumbent upon me to give the guys these opportunities to do that and have fun and all those kind of things. Yesterday, I don't think you guys were still out there. Scott Wallace, our director of operations, created our own mini water park at the end of practice, and it was a great moment. We had the ice cream trucks come out, and just the looks on our guys' faces after 2.5 weeks of a really hard, tough physical camp, and that ice cream truck starts ringing, and it's just a good, you forget about all your aches and woes, and there's whatever your favorite ice cream, that Scott had it waiting on us. So I really appreciate all the work Scott Wallace and our operations team does for our program. Also a really cool moment yesterday. Tariq Carpenter got awarded jersey number 2, and it was a big deal for everybody within the organization. We don't give things around here. Everything that we do is earned, and I think we've had, close to 37 number changes since we've gotten here, guys. There's something that have intrinsic value, and numbers are that. I was number 4 in high school. I was number 5 in college. I understand that means something, but we don't just give them to them. Tariq Carpenter on March 13th of this year wrote me a letter explaining why he wanted to earn that number. Throughout the spring, I don't know if he had done enough to earn it, but this summer he had a 3.0 GPA. Has been one of the hardest workers, most unselfish humans in our program, and just for me to be able to reward him with a jersey that that he wants. And a lot of people have traditions and different traditions that they do, and that's great. We have standards in this program. That this is what we're built on. We're a culture built on effort, great relentless effort, accountability, toughness. Competition is king. And Tariq Carpenter has displayed all of those elements and been a great teammate and been a great leader. So anytime we can reward young men in our program with something that matters to them, it's important for us to do that. The same thing for the young guys that have come into the program, getting the GT, representing the Institute. That's been a big deal for us and a big motivating factor for us as well. So with that, I'll stop talking and answer questions. So,
how do you get into the idea with the above the line thing and trying to keep the kids motivated? Those that have to go onto the scout team, how does that kind of work for them? And
awesome.
How do they audition to get back above the line? That kind of thing.
100%. So everything we do is about development. We are a developmental program. So we don't call them scout teams. We call them development teams. I coach the defensive development team. When you guys are out at practice and we're going, the above-the-line offense versus the developmental defense, the defensive coordinator for the developmental team is me. We do not use cards in this program. Most places, they stand there, they have drawings of plays, and the guys just follow a line and execute that line. Well, when you do that, you're not developing to be your very best. Every one of our players throughout their career, regardless of what their role may be, is going to develop. And so we're out there and we're calling our blitzes relative to what our opponents do percentage-wise. If a team's playing a lot of quarters, we'll call our quarters coverages, but it'll be in our vernacular, it'll be our checks, it'll be our words, our schemes. Just the percentage is being based off of what the other team does for our above-the-line offensive guys. Same thing on when the offensive development team is, we don't use cards. Very rarely, if there's a specialized thing that's very unique to what they do, we might have to show something. But we are running our offense and our defense every day. So they just continue to develop, and they have a chance to get rewarded either by traveling or being moved up because their play forces us to move them above the line. So they know that. They're told why they're not above the line yet, what they need to do to earn their way to be above the line, and that conversation is developed and continues throughout the season.
In terms of that strategy, is that something you see where you get better effort, execution, and better looks for your team from running it that way?
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
Right? It seems like it should just make sense in college football that this is how it should be done. This is the way we've done it. It's worked really well for us. And just every single day, every person in our organization is trying to get better every day. And if you are a person on offense or defense that ends up playing 40, 50, 60 plays in a game, well, there's still going to be another day after that you still have to improve and you still have to get better and development in every phase of our game.
On the defensive side of the ball, I think you only have 3 seniors.
Okay.
How important was it in this camp to develop some young depth on the team?
100%, and just depth across at every position. Defensive line-wise, I think Coach Larry Knight and Marco Coleman have done a really nice job because in a perfect world, you're playing 8 to 10, 8 to 11 defensive linemen throughout a game. Because in this day and age of spread and hurry up offenses, you better be able to rotate the D line because that's the first ones, the big guys, that get worn down. So they've done a great job having 5 or 6 D tackles that we feel really good about, having 5 or 6 D ends that we feel really good about that can play at a high level in this league on Saturdays or Thursdays or whenever we play and play at a high level. So really proud of them. Linebacker core as well, and then the defensive backs. You want to try to have at least 10 that are rotating in corner, nickel, safety. We'll discuss it more on Sunday, but I think we might be in that 11, 12 number of guys rotating in and playing at a high level. And the place that helps you as well is on special teams. If you have confidence that you've got a bunch of guys that can play on defense or on offense, whatever, then you can afford to play your best players on special teams as well. And, I think we're working toward that end, and I'm just excited to see, the guys respond and, go once we get into, game week and prep week to do that. Yes, Tori?
I guess when it comes to special teams, we've talked to a lot of guys, it's like, you don't play special teams, you don't play on this team.
Facts.
Where
No
did
cap.
that come? Yeah, where did that come from you? Is that something that you've always kind of had as a philosophy going?
Yeah. It's important to me. It's always been important. And to the development of a player. So when these guys leave here and go on and get into an NFL camp, unless they're the first pick at their position in the draft, the first thing they're going to have to show out is on special teams at the next level. Well, it is important to me to make sure that emphasis is placed here so that they get that opportunity, they're ready for that time. And I think it's good for the culture. It's good for everybody that special teams is such a critical part of the game, and the field can be flipped so far on a special teams play. You better place emphasis and priorities on that end. So we do it, and every single meeting it is brought up. We'll have 10-minute-long dissertations, either post-practice or in the team meetings, about the importance of it, and the guys have bought in, and so I'm excited to see that continue to develop.
How do you determine which guys you want to redshirt and which guys you know you're going to play?
So well, here's the neat thing. The NCAA, I think, did right by the players in this, that the guys have 4 games that they get to play. And I think that's the right thing for the student athlete. So whether we play them early or whether we play them late, it is the right thing. So we'll manage it. Just like I said, we want these guys to develop. In the past, they better develop by the first 4 games or they don't have a chance. Well, now you've got the first 8 games. Some kids, it might take them 8 games. Some kids like Demetrius Knight or Jemias Griffin or Chico Bennett might be a little sooner in their development and ready to play sooner. But every person in our program, we want them to develop. So by week 7, week 8, week 9, some of those young guys might really catch on because they're not using cards, because they're playing in our scheme every single day, playing against really good players every day. They're going to improve, and maybe late in the season, they're able to play and still maintain, their redshirt year. So we go with the assumption that we want them all to play. Then their development and dictates where they are on the above the line and if they get in games or not.
Do you change your practice routine now that camp is over?
So we'll come back Sunday, so giving them this afternoon and tomorrow off, and we come back Sunday, it'll be a typical Sunday practice because our process is a Sunday night practice most of the time, unless there's an off day Monday per the calendar. But we typically practice on Sundays, give them off to do academics on Mondays, and then practice Tuesday. So once we come into Sunday, we will start that routine because we've kind of introduced it to them this past week, how we do a Tuesday, Wednesday, a Thursday practice. But now that we've set the above the line, the developmental, Sunday will be that full schedule, off on Monday. Then the Tuesday will be a real Georgia Tech football Tuesday practice. And the Wednesday will be Wednesday, Thursday will be a Thursday. So
How do you, with the above the line thing, say you open with a road game, how do you address that with the caps they put on the roster and stuff? If you have enough guys that you feel like are above the line to max out at 75 or whatever that number is it just come down to you cutting a couple of extra guys in one
and
spot?
it kind of goes back to Tori's question,
Sure.
special teams. So as we put up the depth chart, and we've got it in our staff meeting room, and we've got it listed above the line, developmental, and then the guys that are having to play a role, special teams, then that selection process, if this young man is on 3 special teams and he's kind of right there in the middle, and this other guy's right there in the middle and he doesn't play special teams, that guy will get the nod on the travel roster. So that's a little insider baseball how we do it, but that's it.
Couple more for Coach?
The transfers, any updates?
No, nope.
That has to be a little bit frustrating at this kind of juncture to not
It's
get into game planning.
It's the process. I'm just, again, really proud of the guys, how they've handled it, because it's a situation that, if I'm a 18 to 22-year-old that really is wanting to know, you have a chance to either be distracted or be frustrated or whatever. But to a man, I've been so proud of how they've handled the situation, how they've stayed focused, how they bought into the culture, been unbelievable teammates. Because it's got to be going through their minds, and we're sensitive to it, and we're loving and caring and all of those things. But just the way they have handled it, and even today, they're just out there playing football with their teammates and trying to get better. So that's the thing that I'm really proud of. And so when we know, you guys will know.
What is Wes Jackson, is he available to play or what's his?
Yes. Yeah, so he'll be out there next week. Yep.
You had some guys that you kept out of camp. Will those guys be able to join you on Sunday or Monday?
Tuesday.
So
I've been
a guy,
talking to Tariq and Wanye about their connection, and they're a fun duo to talk to. But
Thing 1 and thing 2.
yeah, 100%.
That's them saying it, and that was at the last superhero lift that we did. They were dressed as thing 1 and thing 2, and they're awesome to be around.
Yeah, I guess with that, how have you seen their connection be displayed in kind of what you want them to do at safety position?
Yeah, and they're great. Great communication. They do a really good job working together. But you guys have seen us practice. We're rotating guys in throughout. I mean, Christian Campbell's out there, Avery Scholl's out there, Caleb Oliver's out there, and they're just rolling through. So I think there's a great dynamic in that entire safety room. Coach Burton does a great job. He's a really good relationship builder, and that room just is a really good flow. I think another component, a byproduct of us having the above-the-line system. If you've got 5 guys that are going to play, Well, they're all going to play, and they're wanting to help each other, and they're wanting to. Well, if you're playing well, that means when I come in, I can just go as hard as I can possibly go, and I can go as hard as I can possibly go on special teams. It's going to help me, and it creates great bonds amongst the group. The second you set starters and you set backups and you define these situations, that sometimes that becomes contentious, but in our room we don't have that because the guys know they're going to play. They know they're going to get reps as long as they practice the right way, they play the right way, they prepare the right way. So I think that part of it, that dynamic is really good. So I think Wanya and Tariq's relationship, to your point, is special, but they do such a good job of it's not them being separatist. They are close with everybody. They do have a really close bond, which is really special. But I think it's, kind of transcends throughout that position group, transcends throughout the defense, and even into the locker room. Really good.
Anything else?
Center position seems to still kind of be
Yeah,
flux week to week. Practice.
So what we do too, and this is, we've talked about, I know, the position flexibility, whether offense or defense, those kind of things. But the position flexibility piece too that's important is Coach Key teaches all of the guys every position. A lot of coaches don't do that. But we do that. That's part of our DNA as a program. Same thing on the defense. We teach them nickel, we play corner, we play safety, and they move around every day. Because the more you can do and the more flexibility you have in the program, if somebody goes down, and I learned this the hard way 15 years ago, defense coordinator at Western Carolina, our best player was our starting safety. His backup was not even close to one of the top 17 players. But our best player got hurt. Well, his backup was this guy. We had to plug him in. Well, there's 6 other guys on the sidelines that could arguably be better players. Well, the way we do things, everybody kind of knows everything globally so that if we ever do run into some issues, guys can move from center to tackle, guard to center, nickel to dime, all those things. And I think the way we do things helps be good at that.
Thank you, Coach.
You guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, guys.